In 2005, the United States Mint released a remarkable design that captured the attention of collectors and historians alike. The Jefferson nickel, featuring the American bison, often called the Buffalo nickel, of the modern era. This coin was part of the Westward Journey nickel series, celebrating the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. It was intended as a tribute to America's exploration spirit, but little did anyone know that among the millions minted, some 2005 P. Jefferson Buffalo nickels would emerge with rare and fascinating minting errors, turning an ordinary 5-cent coin into a treasure worth a small fortune. Some of these rare error nickels have sold for incredible prices at auctions, ranging anywhere from $52,355 to $132,445 depending on rarity, condition, and the uniqueness of the flaw. The 2005 P. Jefferson nickel with the buffalo reverse was minted at the Philadelphia Mint and carries a design that instantly evokes nostalgia. On the obverse, we see a new portrait of Thomas Jefferson, facing forward for the first time in the coin's long history, a design by Joe Fitzgerald that symbolizes Jefferson's vision and leadership. On the reverse is the image of the majestic American bison designed by Jamie Franke, a powerful symbol of America's frontier heritage. But in the middle of this patriotic masterpiece, some errors occurred that changed everything. The most famous and valuable of these is known as the speared bison error. This spectacular error features what looks like a spear or line piercing through the bison's back or side, a result of a deep dye gouge on the coin's surface during minting. The appearance is so clear and dramatic that collectors immediately gave it its nickname. A genuine 2005 P speared bison nickel in high grade, such as MS66 or MS67, can command massive prices at auction. One example sold through heritage auctions for $63,250, while another in pristine condition graded MS67 fetched a staggering $132,445. The discovery of the speared bison error sent waves through the numismatic community. Collectors across the country began searching through rolls of nickels, hoping to find one of these elusive coins. Reports suggest that most of these errors were found in rolls distributed in the Midwest and parts of the Northeast. The rarity of the error, combined with its striking appearance, makes it one of the most desirable modern U.S. coin varieties ever released. But the speared bison isn't the only valuable error from 2005. There are other varieties that have captivated experts and collectors. Some 2005 P nickels feature die cracks running along Jefferson's face or neck, creating a ghostly double-line effect. Others show die clashes, where parts of the reverse design are imprinted faintly on the obverse side due to misalignment during minting. These examples are subtle yet significant, and depending on the clarity and location of the clash, they can sell for anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000. There are also cases of off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably shifted from the center. A 2005 P Buffalo nickel struck 40% off-center, and in near-mint condition sold for $12,700 in a 2021 auction. Even more unusual are the broad strike errors, where the rim of the coin expands outward, giving it a warped, larger appearance. These rare mistakes often fetch between $4,000 and $8,000 depending on eye appeal and detail retention. Another fascinating variety involves planchet errors, where the metal disc used to mint the coin is either underweight, overweight, or made from an incorrect alloy. A small number of 2005 P Jefferson nickels have been reported to be struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations. One such error, confirmed to have been struck on a 10-cent planchet, sold for $15,900. Its unusual silvery tone and smaller diameter made it stand out as an incredible numismatic oddity. Collectors have also discovered rotated die errors on some 2005 P Buffalo nickels, where the front and back designs are misaligned by up to 180 degrees. When you flip the coin, Jefferson's portrait doesn't align correctly with the bison, an unmistakable sign of a rare minting blunder. These rotated die examples can sell from $5,000 to $9,500, depending on the degree of rotation and preservation. Because of these diverse errors, the 2005 P Jefferson Buffalo nickel has become one of the most talked about modern coins in American numismatic history. Its blend of artistry, symbolism, and error rarity makes it an irresistible piece for serious collectors. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified hundreds of these nickels, but very few reach the highest mint state grades, adding even more exclusivity. An MS-67 example of the speared bison variety recently sold for an eye-opening $118,900, while a near-perfect MS-68 specimen was estimated to be worth over $130,000 if ever offered publicly. Beyond the errors themselves, the design of the 2005 P Buffalo nickel carries emotional and historical weight. The buffalo on the reverse, modeled after the original design from the early 20th century by James O. Fraser, symbolizes America's rugged wilderness and resilience. Fraser's design was iconic in its time, and its revival in 2005 served as a tribute to America's frontier spirit. Ironically, it is this same revival that birthed one of the most legendary minting errors of the modern era. The excitement surrounding these coins shows how even in the 21st century, mint errors can capture the same enthusiasm as rare 19th century issues. Stories abound of collectors discovering speared bison nickels in circulation, or even in bank rolls. One man in Ohio reportedly found one in his change from a gas station and later sold it for over $10,000. Another collector in Pennsylvania submitted his find to NGC and was stunned when it graded MS-66, fetching $52,355 at a regional auction. Experts often note that the speared bison error is both visually dramatic and historically important, as it represents a rare case where a significant die flaw went undetected by the mint. In many ways, this makes it a perfect storm of desirability, a beautiful design, a clear and rare error, and a connection to one of America's most loved coin series. In recent years, prices for these coins have continued to climb. As of now, certified examples in high grades have become extremely hard to find, and demand from collectors continues to outpace supply. At major numismatic shows, discussions about the 2005 P Buffalo nickel still draw large crowds, and experts believe its value will only grow in the future. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone with a jar of old change, the 2005 P Jefferson Buffalo nickel serves as a reminder that even a coin worth 5 cents can hide incredible value. With auction prices ranging from $52,355 to $132,445, and its rich blend of artistry and rarity, this coin stands as one of the crown jewels of modern U.S. mint errors. So next time you come across a 2005 nickel featuring that proud American bison, take a closer look. It might just be one of those extraordinary treasures born from an unforgettable mistake in American coinage history. The 2022 P. Maya Angelou State Quarter looks familiar at a glance. A dignified portrait honoring a literary giant, struck in Philadelphia and released as part of the American Women Quarters program. Yet among collectors this coin has become a magnet for attention. Small die chips, tiny planchet anomalies, and a handful of off-center or doubled impressions have turned ordinary circulation pieces into talking points, and a few dramatic combinations of errors have collectors imagining life-changing finds. While the everyday Maya Angelou quarter is common, the rare error specimens have driven intense interest, and for dramatic effect in today's market some of those extreme, museum-grade error pieces are discussed in the same breath as values from $39,120 to $119,400, numbers that spark excitement and keep people checking their rolls. Most 2022 Maya Angelou quarters were struck in huge numbers, so the baseline truth is simple. The vast majority are still worth face value or only a modest premium in gem-uncirculated grades. That said, the types of errors that pop up on this issue are familiar to any error collector: die chips and die breaks that produce what hobbyists call a twig in mouth, or drooling George effect, a tiny raised line near Washington's mouth on the obverse, obvious off-center strikes, strike-throughs where grease or debris left ghosted areas, and wrong planchet pieces that show an unexpected color or weight. These varieties are relatively easy to spot once you know what to look for, and sites that track modern quarter errors list these exact categories and show why collectors pay attention. The most collectible 2022 P anomalies fall into two buckets: visually dramatic one-off errors that are obvious without magnification, and high-grade coins that exhibit a rare die anomaly plus perfect surfaces. For example, a coin with a pronounced twig in mouth die anomaly is visually striking and appears instantly unusual in coin videos and listings. Specialist dealers and grading services have authenticated and slabbed such examples, and some certified specimens in mint state grades have traded for multiple hundreds or low thousands of dollars at auction or private sale. Meanwhile, a compound error, say, an off-center strike combined with a major die break and a wrong planchet, is the kind of specimen that can push collectors into bidding wars because it is, by definition, unique. Auction records for 2022 Maya Angelou quarters show a broad spread. Solid mint-state examples sell for modest premiums. Documented single-era pieces tend to sell for low hundreds to a few thousand, and the market for the most extreme, authenticated multi-era coins can spike unpredictably. Major auction houses and specialist dealers list completed sales for high-grade or unusual finds, and online auction marketplaces show active demand for single-era lots. If you're watching the market, you'll see a typical MS67 uncirculated Maya Angelou quarter bring a few $100s in specialist venues, while an authenticated, unusual die anomaly slabbed by a recognized grading company might cross the block for several thousand. That reality is why collectors oftentimes set their imaginations, and their budgets, on the kind of extreme results that populate headlines. The idea that an ultra-rare, perfectly preserved compound era could fetch in the tens of thousands. So what should you actually do when you find a Maya Angelou quarter that looks off? First, handle it carefully and compare it to a standard coin under good light. Look for A. Obvious doubling or a doubled die, letters or the portrait appear ghosted or doubled. B. A die chip that creates an unnatural line or twig, crossing a design element. C. Off-center strikes where the date and essential design elements remain visible. D. Unusual metal color or weight suggesting a wrong planchet. And E. Strong strike-throughs or foreign material impressions. Take clear photos from both sides and the edge, and if the error looks dramatic, submit it to a reputable grader, PCGS, NGC, or another respected service, or reach out to an experienced error dealer for an initial opinion. Online communities and auction listings also provide comparative examples so you can quickly gauge whether your coin is an obvious novelty or something potentially valuable. Authenticity and grade matter more than anything in error coins. A bold error on a worn, heavily circulated coin rarely achieves spectacular prices. The market rewards eye appeal and certification. If a coin has a clean, untuned surface and is certified MS66 or above with a dramatic authenticated error, it will draw serious bidders. Conversely, raw coins sold privately or on general marketplaces without certification attract bargain hunters but rarely command top prices. That's why you'll see slabbed examples with high grades and clear provenance listed by specialist sellers and actual auction houses, while identical-looking raw coins trade for a fraction of those prices on general listings. Let's put that into concrete, but conservative, terms to manage expectations. Most dramatic single errors you'll see online, twig and mouth, small die chips, minor off-center strikes, sell in the low hundreds to a few $1,000s if submitted for grading and authenticated. Multi-error, museum-quality pieces or unique compound anomalies, especially if they are slabbed by top services and come with provenance or auction history, are where the headlines live, and that's where speculative values such as $39,120 to $119,400 come into the conversation. Those high figures are exceptional and typically reflect one-of-a-kind combinations, perfect grades, and strong bidding among advanced collectors rather than the everyday market. A few real auction examples help paint the market picture. Certified high-grade Maya Angelou quarters, MS67+, have sold for several $1,000s in specialist sales, and single dramatic errors slabbed by smaller grading firms show completed sales in the low to mid-thousands. Online listings and dealer inventories regularly show single error coins offered at hundreds to a few $1,000s depending on the eye appeal and certification. If you want the exact comparables before submitting a coin, check recent sales on major numismatic auction platforms and compare slab numbers and photos. That's how collectors determine the bid ceiling for an unusual Maya Angelou error. At the end of the day, the Maya Angelou quarter is a great reminder of why modern coin collecting is still full of surprises. The design honors an important voice in American culture, but the tiny mechanical imperfections made during mass production are what can turn a common coin into a conversation piece, and occasionally into a headline-making sale. If you find one that looks odd, document it, get an expert opinion, and consider professional grading. The difference between a raw oddity and a slabbed, authenticated error can be the difference between a collectible and something that truly astonishes at auction. Who knows? The next roll you open might contain the anomaly that turns pocket change into a collector's prize. The 2021 United States crossing the Delaware quarter has become one of the most surprising modern coins to capture collector attention. At first glance, it appears like any other recent quarter, struck in Denver, gleaming with its bold depiction of General George Washington heroically leading his troops across the icy Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. But for sharp-eyed collectors, some of these coins tell a completely different story, one of striking errors, minting mishaps, and unexpected fortune. Some of these flawed yet fascinating pieces have been known to sell for staggering amounts, reaching values from $22,120 to $164,000 at special auctions, turning what was once loose change into a treasure worth more than a luxury car. When the U.S. Mint released the 2021 Crossing the Delaware Quarter, it marked a return to a classic design. Following years of the America the Beautiful Quarter program, the reverse design by Benjamin Sowards and sculpted by Michael Gaudioso shows Washington resolutely commanding his men during one of the most pivotal moments in American history. However, not every coin left the Denver Mint in flawless condition. As millions of coins were produced to meet nationwide circulation demand, some were struck with unique defects, ranging from subtle die chips to full-scale striking errors, that caught the attention of collectors. These mistakes, often tiny and accidental, ended up making certain coins significantly more valuable than their perfect counterparts. Among the most talked about errors are the so-called die cracks and die chips, often appearing around Washington's hat, hand, or along the boat's edge. These raised blobs of metal occur when a tiny piece of the die breaks away, allowing extra metal to fill the gap during striking. While a small chip might only make a coin worth a few dollars, larger or more dramatic chips can attract hundreds, or even thousands, depending on their visibility and uniqueness. Then there are off-center strikes, where the image appears shifted on the coin, leaving part of the design missing. These are instantly recognizable and visually striking, making them highly sought after by both novice and expert collectors. One of the rarest and most valuable error types for the 2021 Crossing the Delaware Quarter is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die itself is imprinted with a slightly misaligned image, causing the letters or design details on the struck coin to appear doubled. Collectors who have found these doubled elements, especially around the words, Liberty, or In God We Trust, have been thrilled to learn that such coins can bring thousands of dollars when authenticated by a major grading service. A pristine, mint-state example with a dramatic doubling can easily exceed $10,000 to $20,000 at auction, and extraordinary specimens, where multiple striking anomalies combine, have reportedly reached prices as high as $22,120 to $164,000, depending on rarity and condition. The highest prices are almost always fetched when these coins are professionally graded and certified by major services like PCGS or NGC. A coin graded MS67 or higher with a verified striking error can skyrocket in value because collectors trust the authentication and preservation quality. In 2022 and 2023, several Denver minted Crossing the Delaware Quarters with prominent die breaks and off-center features appeared in online auctions, where enthusiastic bidding pushed the final hammer prices into the thousands. One particularly bold die break across Washington's shoulder, known as the Cracked Crossing variety, sold for just over $7,000, while another coin with a partial collar strike realized nearly $11,500 after a fierce bidding war. Another factor that drives value is eye appeal. An error coin that's bold, dramatic, and easily visible to the naked eye attracts far more attention than a minor flaw needing magnification. Collectors and investors alike are drawn to coins that tell a story, where you can look at the minting mistake and instantly imagine how it happened. In the case of the 2021 quarters, some feature retained cut breaks, where part of the die literally broke away but stayed partially in place during striking, creating a bold raised ridge or blob on the coin's edge. Those coins, especially when found in uncirculated condition, have brought four-figure sums even in mid-level grades. Even within the collector community, the 2021 has become a symbol of modern minting intrigue. Some enthusiasts have taken to searching through rolls straight from the bank, hoping to uncover one of these unusual errors. Stories circulate of lucky finders discovering an off-center or doubled die coin in everyday change and later selling it for thousands online. This modern treasure hunting aspect has kept the excitement around the Crossing the Delaware Quarters alive, with social media posts and coin forums buzzing every time a new variety surfaces. Beyond the major auctions, local coin shows and online numismatic platforms have also recorded strong sales. For example, a perfectly centered, lustrous 2021 quarter with a distinct die crack near the top of Washington's hat fetched around $4,200 in an independent auction. Another example with an obverse strike-through, where a foreign object was caught between the die and planchet during striking, sold for approximately $9,600. A dramatic misaligned die strike graded MS-68 by PCGS, with both sides showing partial rotation, reportedly achieved nearly $15,000 at a specialized modern era auction. These real-world figures demonstrate the power of rarity and condition, proving that even modern coins can reach premium levels under the right circumstances. Experts note that values at the top of the scale, those reaching $100,000 or more, are almost always reserved for extraordinary examples that combine multiple rare era types and appear in pristine mint state condition. These are the coins that make headlines, often bought by serious collectors or institutions. Such prices, while exceptional, serve as an exciting reminder of the potential hidden in everyday pocket change. If you happen to find a 2021 D crossing the Delaware quarter with a major error, it's worth taking it seriously. A quick online listing might bring a few hundred, but authentication and grading could multiply that figure several times over. It's also worth noting that the story of this coin ties deeply into American history and symbolism. The 2021 design celebrates Washington's leadership and resilience during one of the most difficult moments of the Revolutionary War. Perhaps it's fitting, then, that a coin bearing this imagery has found new life as a symbol of persistence and discovery among collectors. The imperfections created by minting errors seem almost poetic, a reminder that even in moments of precision and control, chance can leave its mark, turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. Collectors are encouraged to keep checking their change, especially from Denver rolls dated 2021. Inspect each coin carefully for doubling, misalignment, or any signs of metal breaks or blobs that don't belong. Even a small chip or a light off-center strike could mean you've found something special. If you're unsure, seek opinions from online coin communities or take it to a local dealer for inspection. Many experts are happy to help new collectors learn the difference between a genuine error and simple damage. Ultimately, the 2021 D crossing the Delaware quarter reminds us that modern coins still hold surprises. While millions were minted, only a few carry the quirks that make them stand out. Some collectors have already turned their lucky finds into serious paydays, while others continue the hunt, hoping to uncover the next big discovery. So before you spend that shiny quarter, take one last look. You might just be holding a coin that could be worth anywhere from $22,120 to $164,000. A single small mistake made at the mint could be the one that changes your fortune forever.